Good afternoon. My name is George Pressa, and I'm pleased to serve as Master of Ceremonies as we honor Scout Kevin Vine for attaining Scouting's highest rank, the Eagle Scout Award. This is a great moment of worthy celebration. Before we begin our program, I'd like to introduce a few special people in the audience. I'd like to introduce current Scoutmaster, Troop 161, Robert Westgate. Past Scoutmaster and presently Assistant Scoutmaster, Carl Jennings. Another past Scoutmaster, and he kind of serves as the advancement guide for all these Scouts to help them get this rank of Eagle Scout, Bud Rudloff. And the committee chair, which is probably the most important position in a troop, if anyone knows how it works, other than the Scoutmaster, Mrs. Linda Geddes. All right, would the Eagle Escort please escort Kevin to his seat? Thank you. Now, Father Gary Bradley will lead us in prayer.
Please rise. Let us pray. Our gracious God and Father, we thank you for this special day in the life of Kevin Vine. Today we celebrate the accumulated efforts Kevin has made over the years to advance in Scouting. We think of all the merit badges he earned along the way, the oaths he learned, the character he developed, and his service to his fellow Scouts and to our community, including his Eagle Project, which benefited this beautiful campus. Little by little, month by month, and year by year, he was faithful, and today we celebrate this marker of faithful and hard work. So we ask you, our Lord, to bless Kevin, to bless his family, his parents especially, who supported and encouraged him. We ask your blessing to fall upon his brother Scouts, whose fellowship he enjoyed along the pathway. We thank you for the Scout leaders who gave so much time and energy to develop young men like Kevin. Bless them with the certainty that their work has influenced the course of many lives, that their work has touched the future. We all benefit because of their sacrifices and leadership. And so, our God, we pray that you would bless this celebration as we rejoice with Kevin. We pray in the name of Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior. Amen. Thank you.
And now Alex Sun will present the colors.
The audience, please rise for the presentation of the colors. Honor guard, attention! Honor guard, front and center! Honor guard, advance! Halt! Please post the flag of the United States of America. place your right hand over your heart. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. 2.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched, we're so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Please post the troop flag. Scout sign. Scout oath. On my honor, I will do my best to do my duty to God and my country, to obey the scout law, to love other people at all times, keep myself physically strong, mentally awake, and morally straight. Scout law. Scouts are trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent. 2. On guard. Reform. Honor guard, retreat! Honor guard, dismiss! You may now all be seated.
Thank you, Scouts. Great job. And the national anthem was sung by Haley Gold. Terrific job. Brought a tear to my eye. All right. I would like to ask Lucky Baldwin Training Chair Michael Belingett from the Boy Scout Council to officially convene this Court of Honor.
Thank you. Good day today, huh? Yes. By the power vested in me by the National Council of the Boy Scouts of America and the San Gabriel Valley Council, I declare this Court of Honor to be duly convened for the sole purpose of presenting the Eagle Scout Award to Kevin Vine.
We begin our program this afternoon by taking a personal look at Kevin from several people who know him well. First, Assistant Scoutmaster of Troop 161 and former Scoutmaster while Kevin was a patrol leader, Mr. Carl Jennings.
Hi I got props, so hang on. Is this good? There's more. Okay, I don't have to introduce myself. You already know who I am. Kevin, I'm honored to be part of your Eagle Court. I've done exhaustive research and dug up every embarrassing thing you've ever done in scouting. I may have made some up. Everybody sit back, relax. This is going to take a while. I was told I could take as much time as I want. Four minutes? Good thing I have a short one. Plan. Okay. The first time I encountered Kevin was at Temple City Park in 2008. His Cub Pack had a booth set up for a concert in the park. Troop 161 was selling shaved ice. Kevin was an active Cub Scout, and I thought to myself, nope. Kevin earned his Arrow of Light, and upon entering Troop 161, was elected patrol leader. Whoops, missed a thing. The next time I encountered Kevin was at his bridging ceremony in Eaton Canyon. He bridged from Pack 156 to Troop 161 with 5 of his fellow Webelos. Kevin earned his Arrow of Light upon entering the troop and was elected patrol leader of the Squirrels. I mean Cougars. Sorry, Kevin. And I thought to myself, no, wait, not yet. At that ceremony, I realized my initial impression of Kevin was not accurate. And I thought to myself, okay, one of Kevin's first outings was a backpack trip to Little Jimmy. Normally, we do not invade a scout's privacy. We don't go through their stuff. We don't do tent inspections. When we backpack, it's a different story. There's a safety issue involved. So we do pack inspections. Kevin has always been a gadget guy. He always has little doodads hanging from his belt, stuff like a battery-powered pocket knife, or a solar-powered compass, or an electromagnetic binocular. We could tell Kevin packed his own pack. He had 2 jackets, 2 pairs of Levi's, 2 pairs of shorts, 4 pairs of socks, an extra pair of boots, and no underwear. He had 2 D-cell flashlights. One of them was a 5-cell mag light and a battery-powered lantern that connected to the internet. And I thought to myself, there's this electromagnetic binocular. I'm awful. Kevin wasn't the slowest hiker on the trail when we finally got up there that day. When I finally got to camp, Most of it was already set up, and I quickly got caught up setting up my tent and my camp stuff. Before we could do any scout stuff or have any fun at all, we had to do something that we did on every backpack trip that we've ever been on, which was
Make Mr. Preston coffee!
make Mr. Preston coffee. Everybody's gonna get it. While we're enjoying Mr. Preston's coffee and chatting about the fun stuff we're gonna do after we got done with the coffee, I thought to myself, not everyone's gonna get that one. I was supposed to take that slide out or that one out, but I couldn't bring myself to do it. Okay, Kevin has been assistant patrol leader scribe, quartermaster, senior patrol leader twice, and junior assistant scoutmaster. Some of this I abbreviated because I know it's in your programs. Kevin's earned 44 merit badges. Wow, that's a lot. He has a bronze and a gold palm. He has 36 miles backpacking. He's hiked over 210 miles and cycled 391 miles. Kevin has camped 155 nights. 28 more nights and it will be a half a year camping. Wow. Kevin has earned the National Outdoor Badge for camping with a silver device. Kevin has been to 5 summer camps. Those are week-long camps. Kevin's attended NYLT, National Youth Leadership Training at Trask Scout Reservation, which was the prerequisite to NAYLE, National Advanced Youth Leadership Experience, which he attended at Philmont High Adventure Base in New Mexico. Kevin has attended 2 national jamborees, one at Fort A.P. Hill in Virginia, and once at the Summit Bechtel Family National Scout Reserve in West Virginia. Now, I had the privilege of being the assistant scoutmaster on both of Kevin's jamboree troops. Last year's scoutmaster, Ron's in the back there. It seems to me that Kevin enjoys camping, but his passion has to be these epic outings. It just has to be. People ask me what we do on these epic outings, and I thought to myself, seriously, I've got a bunch of pictures of Kevin, and this is the only one I have of him sleeping. He didn't sleep a lot. To be fair to Kevin, this was the last day. We were on our way out. We'd gotten up early in the rain. We were all just completely exhausted, wiped out. It was hot because we were back east in Virginia in the summer, and the air conditioning on the bus was down. So it was like 90 degrees in there with no windows to open. So we were all wiped that day. But really, what Kevin looks like when he's doing these outings is this. And you can see, once I move out of the way, I can get this to work. Kevin always has a smile on his face. I got more pictures, but those were the best. Kevin's always smiling. So it's my honor to introduce Kevin Vine, Eagle Scout. That's it.
Wow, that was great. In that story, did anybody catch why Kevin wasn't the slowest hiker? Because Mr. Jennings was kind enough to go along. But, yeah, I don't know if they caught it though. But you know what? He makes the best cup of coffee on a backpack trip, so. Thank you, Carl. Next, I would like to introduce Chris Case, the Acolyte Director of this beautiful church. the Church of Our Savior, who has known Kevin for the past 5 years.
Hello, everyone. I am Chris Case, and I am the Volunteer Youth Coordinator here at Church of Our Savior. And I have known Kevin a lot more than 5 years. In fact, I've known Kevin since he was a wee little second grader. Over these years, I've observed Kevin in many circumstances. As his Sunday school teacher, as his youth leader, and as his acolyte coordinator. I've had the opportunity to witness Kevin as an eager, energetic, young Sunday school pupil, a budding thespian portraying Jesus in the Christmas pageant, a provisional pubescent acolyte who earns the privilege of becoming the youngest team acolyte captain in the history of this parish, a rough and tumble youth running, jumping, and singing to the top of his lungs with his peers, and what I know today to be a kind and thoughtful, honest and sincere, energetic and fun-loving young man. It is my honor to share with you my personal look, because I think of Kevin as more than an acolyte under my supervision. I consider him to be family. I treat Kevin as if he were my own. In fact, so much so that I have self-proclaimed myself his surrogate mother, whether he likes it or not. Very graciously, Kevin accepted my self-appointment. Through the years, Kevin and I have developed a special bond. At times, I've been like a parent, a spiritual navigator, a disciplinarian, a teacher, a friend, and the most fun of all, sometimes a co-conspirator. No matter what my role, it's always been a pleasure. The success of an Eagle Scout rests not only on the process, the dedication of his family, and culmination of countless hours and years of scouting experiences, but manifest in himself as he chooses how to assimilate these as practical. In other words, how Kevin chooses to integrate his scout life as his own. I have had the privilege to watch this process evolve over the years in fits and starts, always on a positive and upward trajectory. I've witnessed Kevin display incredible acts of bravery, purity, loyalty, and faithfulness, some of which I would like to share with you. Bravery. Nothing requires more courage than getting up in front of a group to speak in public. We all know how scary that can be, right? Well, a requirement of being an acolyte team captain is once a year to reflect on your experience and share that with the parish in the format of a sermon. Kevin did this last spring for the first time, and he'll do it again this spring, and he'll do it again the following spring. Knowing Kevin as I do, satisfying this requirement took great courage on his part. He hates public speaking. To his credit, he never complained, he never panicked. He put his head down and he went to work. It was obvious that it wasn't comfortable, but he did it and he did it well. And I was so proud of him that day. Purity. As an energetic second grader, it was a challenge to keep Kevin focused on the Sunday school lesson. As his teacher, however, I quickly learned not to mistake lack of focus for lack of heart. All I needed to do was ask Kevin to sit next to me and help me with the lesson. Every Sunday, Kevin and I had our routine. Once the lesson started, he would nestle next to me and our spiritual adventure would begin. This intrinsic quality in Kevin remains untainted. He is still that heartfelt, curious, kinetic person. He remains pure. Loyalty. To participate as a youth acolyte, you are required to serve one Sunday a month. Many of our youth are able to easily satisfy this requirement. Kevin, however, goes above and beyond this duty. He acolytes every Sunday. That is, unless there's a scouting conflict. We miss him on those Sundays. Over the past 4 years, Kevin has been there for our parish on countless occasions to lead and serve with reverence and sincerity, and I am deeply indebted to his loyalty. Kevin possesses other attributes as well. He has a wicked sense of humor, and we all enjoy it. When Kevin was going through puberty and his voice lowered, I found myself constantly shushing him. Finally, one day I asked him, "Kevin, please lower your voice." And very sincerely, he looked at me and he said, "I have. I just haven't gotten used to it." His peers know him to be an acolyte clown, always joking, always being silly. He's been known on occasion to take out spiders with our holy hardware, only a term that an insider would understand. Flash signs from an adjacent room while his co-acolytes are at the altar performing the Eucharist, and other seemingly irreverent acts that might make one consider his character. Not me. Kevin is a fun-loving, energetic, curious teenager poised to become a magnetic, inspiring, successful young man. The culmination of all of his experiences make him who he is today. Oftentimes, I find myself giving young men advice. Don't be that guy. You know who I'm talking about. The one who draws negative attention to himself, the one who ignores the subtle nuances in life, the one who shies away from taking ownership. In Kevin's case, I find myself saying, "Be who you are doing well." Congratulations, Kevin. It's my honor and my privilege to speak on your behalf today. Continue to be who you are. You make the world a better place.
Thank you, Chris. Now I'd like to introduce Eagle Scout Brian Vine, Kevin's oldest brother, who will tell us the meaning of the Eagle rank.
We are here this afternoon, of course, to celebrate a great success. Now it is my job to tell you, Kevin, how to turn that success into more successes through the rest of your life. How can you be successful? What is the secret? It is simple. Be a failure. Now that may seem like strange advice, but when you think about it, you've been failing ever since you became a scout. Do you remember the first time you tried to build a fire? You failed, didn't you? And what about your first hike, the one that ended in sore muscles and blisters? You made patrol leader when you bridged to the troop. Remember, you were voted for the first patrol leader of the Cougars. You made plenty of mistakes leading your new patrol. You're not the only one who has failed. Thomas Edison discovered 1,800 ways not to make a light bulb before he invented one that worked. Babe Ruth struck out 1,333 times on his way to hitting a record-setting 714 home runs. Michael Jordan was cut from his high school basketball team. Abraham Lincoln dropped out of school, lost 2 elections for the House of Representatives, and lost 2 more elections for the Senate before he became president. But these men never let their failures get them down. Instead, they turned to their mistakes, improved themselves, and went on to enjoy success. So Kevin, don't be afraid to make mistakes. Don't be afraid to fail. Remember, if you've tried to do something and failed, you're vastly better off than if you've tried to do nothing and succeeded. I wish you the best of all in life. It has to offer you, little brother.
Thank you, Brian. Now I'd like to introduce Eagle Scout Jason Vine, Kevin's older brother, who will take us on a journey up the trail to Eagle.
Is everyone supposed to come up, or just these guys? Okay. Well, as I'm about to start, these guys are going to come up and stand next to each of their ranks that they currently have. And as I read, Kevin's going to be moving along the ranks, following along what I say. So, like Brian said, we're here to celebrate Kevin Vine's Eagle Scout rank. But this is not the first time that Kevin has been to a Court of Honor, that we are recognizing him. He's actually been to 6 different Court of Honors and has stood in this spot next to each one of these plaques. First, when he received his Scout badge, when he earned each rank following all the way up to Eagle. And each time, he has seemed a little taller, a little stronger, a little more dedicated to the ideals of scouting. Let us take a look back at the experiences you have the experiences you have encountered in your ascent, Kevin. These experiences should not be forgotten. Kevin bridged from Cub Scouts, from Pack 156 to Boy Scouts in 2009 after earning his Arrow of Light. As a new scout, Kevin's first task was to learn about scouting's ideals: the Scout Oath, the Scout Law, Scout Motto, Scout Slogan. By pledging to live by those guidelines, he became a full-fledged scout and earned the rank of Scout. This new badge didn't stay on his uniform for long. He quickly worked through the tenderfoot requirements, learning how to pitch his own tent, to whip and fuse rope, how to identify poisonous plants. Kevin then learned the rules for safe hiking and camping, along with the basic first aid skills. He attended his first of 6 camporees, hiked Little Jimmy, spent a week at Holcomb, I think it's pronounced? Holcomb, there you go. Holcomb Camp, and visited Camp Pendleton for his first time. Kevin was now a tenderfoot. As he continued to be active in the troop, Kevin learned how to read a map and compass, and more importantly, how to use a knife, saw, and axe. And now he was able to identify 10 different native plants. Kevin was also taught how to start an outdoor campfire. He then participated in his first service project at Powell's Ranch. Doing these things and more earned Kevin his second-class badge. Soon, a year had passed, and Kevin had been on 10 campouts and many hikes. He had mastered all the basic skills of scouting and became a first-class scout. As a first-class scout, Kevin was chosen to attend the Centennial Jamboree celebration at Fort A.P. Hill in Virginia and toured the East Coast for a week. Then he attended the National Jamboree for 9 days with scouts from all over the United States. At this point, Kevin discovered his passion for cycling. During the next 18 months, he traveled over 150 cycling miles, and actually that's, sorry, the typo. He had to make more choices now: which merit badges to choose, what troop office to hold, and where to spend his service hours. With hard work and persistence, though, he made the decisions, completed the requirements, and earned his star rank. Life rank seemed no harder than star, but he had already done most of the easy merit badges by now. He had to earn merit badges like citizenship of the nation, in the nation, life-saving, and communication. Kevin worked hard as a troop leader, completed more service hours, and became a life scout. one step away from Eagle. He had belonged to Troop 161 for approximately 2 years by now. During his first year as Life Scout, the trail became much more interesting. Kevin discovered the National Medal of Outdoor Achievement, which is awarded to scouts demonstrating knowledge and experience in high-level outdoor activities. Camping monthly, he completed a 16-hour wilderness first aid course from the American Red Cross and started working on the National Outdoor Awards in camping, cycling, and hiking. In August of 2012, Kevin led 11 scouts to Emerald Bay as acting senior patrol leader. He did such a tremendous job that he was then chosen by the Scoutmaster to be the troop's senior patrol leader in the following September of that year. As SPL, Kevin led all four patrols of Troop 161 to the Lucky Baldwin Camporee, where 2 patrols won Presidential, which is the highest award, and 2 other patrols won first, which is the second place, essentially. During his second year as Life Scout and as a sophomore in high school, Kevin made the decision it was time to plan for his Eagle Scout project. Kevin's Eagle Scout project was to contribute here at the Church of Our Savior in the fall of 2013. Then, with his Eagle project complete, his merit badges earned, Kevin became a full-fledged Eagle Scout on January 16th of this year. Now, it says I'm supposed to say congratulations, but I would like to quickly say something. Everyone else got to say their own little 2 cents. I remember Kevin being this big, and I was 13 years old, and I have fond memories of changing diapers and pee flying in the air and just really, really fun stuff. But there was a lot of good stuff, and it just blows me away to see that you're here now, where I was, when I was 18, 17, doing the same thing, if not surpassing me in merit badges and amount of hours hiking and camping. So I am very honored to be your brother, or the middle brother, and I'm very proud of you for how far you've come. Thank you.
Scouts, you can all be seated. Thank you, guys. Great job. Thank you, Jason. Well, now it's time for the highlight of the program, the presentation of the Eagle Scout Award. I'd like to ask, Kevin, would you please stand in the center right at the top of the stairs there. I'd like to ask Assistant Scoutmaster Michael Belingett to come forward to make the appropriate presentations.
Thank you. I'm sorry I left my squirrel pictures at home. I was going to borrow yours, Carl, but anyway. Okay, let's get down to business now. Becoming an Eagle Scout is a great accomplishment. It carries great responsibilities. The Scout Oath adds new meaning, and the Scout motto and slogan now also take on a new urgency. A lot has been said this afternoon about what it means to be an Eagle Scout. So now I'm going to give you 5 obligations to ingrain into your heart and into your mind, because now you are a marked man. You're a leader. People will now follow the example that you set. So the first obligation, Kevin, is to an Eagle Scout, honor is sacred. It is the foundation of all character. It is not what you think you are, but it's what you really are deep inside. So if you look at that as a large Eagle medal, it's got the ribbons behind it. I would just say the white field on that ribbon is there to remind you to always live with honor. The second obligation is an Eagle Scout is to be loyal. As a scout coming up through the ranks, you promise to be loyal to those above you and to follow direction. Now, as a leader, you must also be loyal to those following you, treating them as you would want to be treated yourself. You must always be loyal to your ideals and not let others sway you off that course. Without loyalty, all character lacks direction. And in quoting Shakespeare, he said, "To thine own self be true." So the blue field on that badge should always remind you to be loyal. Third obligation as an Eagle Scout is to be courageous. Stepping into the new role as a leader, you will face many challenges and obstacles. And Kevin, you must always have the courage to do what is right, no matter what others may say or do. Courage gives character to force and strength. You must trust in God and have faith in the people around you. Face each day unafraid and seek your share of what the world and God has for you. And so the red field on that badge will remind you to have courage. The fourth obligation, Kevin, is to serve others. For a leader is, above all, a servant. The practice of a daily good turn leads the eagle to a lifetime of service. And you know that giving yourself in service is of real value. So, really, that scroll that the eagle is standing on will serve as a reminder of service. So, Kevin, the fifth and final obligation of an Eagle Scout is to have vision. As a leader, you must now blaze your own trail. Just as the eagle soaring above can look into the distance, so too the eagle. He must look into the future. As a leader, many will follow you, but only the vision will only lead you and lead them in the right direction. So the silver eagle on the badge should always remind you to lead with a clear vision. So Kevin, I would like you right now to recite the Scout Oath. You may begin. Scout Oath, yes. I know it's tough. Okay. There you go. Two. Thank you. Oh my gosh. At this time, I would like to ask all Eagle Scouts in the house here, in the audience, to join Kevin up here so we can rededicate themselves to repeating the Eagle Scout promise. Come on up. Okay. Scout sign. And repeat after me. I reaffirm my allegiance to the three promises of the Scout Oath.
I reaffirm my allegiance to the three promises of the Scout Oath.
I thoughtfully recognize and take upon myself the obligations and responsibilities of an Eagle Scout. On my honor, I will do my best to make my training an example. My rank and my influence count strongly for better scouting and for better citizenship. In my troop and in my community. And in my obstacles with other people my obstacles with other people. To this I pledge my sacred honor. 2. Thank you, gentlemen. You may return to your seat. Okay. Kevin, it is my pleasure to declare and to pronounce you an Eagle Scout. May the oath you have taken remain in your heart forever.
All right, now it's going to be my honor, because I've known Kevin since he started the troop too. I was on that first backpacking trip. I was also the scoutmaster who I saw his leadership ability, and I'm the one who named him, who let him have that opportunity to be the senior patrol leader of the troop. And one of the ways that a leader knows he made a good decision or that the scout's doing a terrific job is, my job was very easy when Kevin was the senior patrol leader. He came to the meetings ready and prepared, and all the time I've known him, he's been a great, great asset to the troop. So Kevin, it is my honor to present you with the Eagle Medal. Now, Kevin, would you please escort your parents forward? Kevin, undoubtedly your parents have been a primary source of help and strength through all these many years of scouting. You know, I know your father has been one of the better, I'm looking for the position name, quartermaster. Takes care of all our gear, one of the better ones. He fixes anything that's there. He installs special stuff. He's been a great help to the troop and for you, and your mom's been terrific in the whole troop. Only other Eagle mothers truly understand the loving devotion they make to bring up an Eagle Scout. In recognition of this, would you please present your mother with this Eagle Mother's pin? Give your mom a big hug. Because believe me, without your mother, it would be really difficult to become an Eagle Scout. Like your mother, your father has been a source of advice, guidance, and love along your Eagle Trail. So please present him with the Eagle Father's tie tack. Now it's my honor to remove his original scarf that he received when he first became a scout in Troop 161. And put this one. Again, Kevin, congratulations. Vaughn, will you present Kevin his Eagle Scout medal? Did I do it already? It's your script, you wrote it. See, I told you there had to be something go wrong. That's what makes it memorable. And now, facing the audience, Kevin, please. It gives me great pleasure to present to all of you the newest Eagle Scout, Kevin Vine. You know, we're not through yet. Scoutmaster Robert Westgate will present Kevin with some letters of congratulations.
Good afternoon. So when you earn your Eagle Scout, you are encouraged to invite every single dignitary that's alive on the planet. So pretty much you send it out to everybody that has ever held office anywhere. And 99.999% of the time, they don't actually show up. They just send a really nice card saying congratulations because it's a big deal. So we have some here of the representative ones. The city of Temple City has given Kevin a really nice certificate. They fly a flag over the United States of America for you that you get that was flown over the Capitol, which is a great honor. The Senate gives you a certificate of merit if you write to them. George Bush writes letters. Jimmy Carter, George Bush Jr., Barack Obama. I mean, literally, you can get them from all over the place. But the best one that I've ever heard is one from Mike Rowe. Mike Rowe is the gentleman from I'm hearing fairy bells in the mic. That's awesome. He's from Dirty Jobs, yes. But he is also an Eagle Scout, and so if you invite him, he writes you this wonderful letter that I'm going to read to you here. It says, "Dear Kevin, back in 1977, I got a letter from the President of the United States congratulating me on becoming an Eagle Scout. It was printed on thick, creamy paper and had the presidential seal stamped on the bottom right next to Gerald Ford's name. Impressive. However, as I studied the presidential photocopied signature and considered the fact that I had never actually met the man, I came to the conclusion that I was holding a form letter. Don't get me wrong, it was a nice gesture, but I decided then and there that if I ever found myself in a position to send out hundreds of identical letters to Eagle Scouts everywhere, I wouldn't pretend to fool them into thinking that they had received a heartfelt expression of unique sentiment. After all, a scout is trustworthy. Whether he goes on to become the President of the United States or a host of a show on cable television. Which is why I am compelled to admit that I did not write this letter specifically for you. I disclose this deliberately in the hope that doing so will imbue my well wishes with a measure of credibility greater than those of any former president. Even though many Eagle Scouts have received this exact letter, you will notice that the time has been taken to scribble your name into the blanks provided. A personal touch not included in President Ford's form letter or, to my knowledge, any correspondence originating from the current leader of the free world. So if you look, he's actually gone and scribbled Kevin's name in all of them. Very classy. Having said that, Kevin, I will now offer my sincere congratulations on what you've achieved. As you may have heard, the Eagle Award is kind of a big deal. Most of the guys in my old troop bailed out around star or first class. You stuck it out, and that makes you special. But don't get cocky, Kevin. Contrary to what many have told you, this award will not change the way the world looks at you. Sorry, but it's true. The vast majority of people you're going to meet in life aren't going to care about what you've accomplished in the Boy Scouts, and you know what? That's fine. Because while others may benefit from being around the type of adult you might become, the only person who will ever be truly affected by what you've accomplished is Kevin. Remember this always. The Eagle Award comes with no magic power or influence. It is merely a reminder that you have succeeded in one area where most others have failed. That could be the start of a very positive pattern. Or it could be something else. I knew a guy who got his Eagle a couple of years before me. His chest literally puffed up and never returned to its normal size. He started walking around like the world owed him a living. His dad got him into a decent school, and when he was finally graduated, he actually carried his degree in his pocket, took it to job interviews, and showed it around like it was the first merit badge. Today, he is a miserable, pompous pain in the butt with no friends, 2 ex-wives, and a job he hates. Always complaining about this or that, he still has an old football trophy on his mantle next to his diploma and an identical copy of the same letter from Gerald Ford framed on his desk, congratulating him for something he did 30 years ago. Don't be that guy. Don't wait for the world to acknowledge your accomplishments. By all means, take pride in what you've done, but don't let it go to your head. When you're finished with scouting, donate your uniform to the Salvation Army. Fold up your sash and stow it away somewhere private with all the other tokens of what you've done so far. Then, roll up your sleeves, get out into the world, and put what you've learned to use. Live the Scout law, remember the Scout oath, be unique. But don't forget to have fun. Otherwise, Kevin, you will wind up like most everybody else, a human form letter. Remember, a Scout is clean, but don't be afraid to get dirty. Mike Rowe, Perpetual Apprentice, microworks.com. P.S. The signature, for what it's worth, is really mine. Congratulations, Kevin.
Thanks, Bob. That's great. Well, 6 years ago, Kevin joined Troop 161. While we know that what Kevin has done in the past, we can only imagine what he'll do in the future. Now a special word from our Scout, Kevin.
Good afternoon. I would like to thank you all for being here today. It means so much to me that my family, friends, and peers could share this celebration. Scouting has molded me into a person that I am today, and it has allowed me to be the person I am meant to be. I know so much more about life, all because of scouting. I am so grateful for all that I've learned in scouting. Through scouting, I have served others, trained others, and set the example to follow. All the decisions I find myself making are based on my foundations of scouting. I have been blessed in my life to have 2 older brothers who are Eagle Scouts. Ever since I was young, I can remember that I was telling my mom that one day I too will be an Eagle Scout. I love the fact that my mom and dad are in scouting. It just seems like a part of me when I grow up. Most everything we did revolved around scouting, since my mom was den leader for 5 years of my life, and my dad went on every single outing. Even though my mom was the planner and organizer of mostly everything in my life, the person who has had the most impact on me growing up has been my dad. My dad has taught me that all things are possible and to never give up, even if the odds are against you. He has been a shining model for me. He is very wise, extremely patient, godly, and very humble. I feel we are so much alike, and I understand him more than most people do. So, for that reason, Dad, you are my first mentor. These little tiny pins right here, and they say mentor pins. They have the eagle insignia, and they say mentor. When I joined Troop 161, as a new scout, Mr. Jennings was my scoutmaster. Like a mama bird feeding the baby bird, you taught me the basics of scouting. You always had the best stories to tell, and you never raised your voice. You didn't push too hard or too soft. You taught me a lot of common sense things. I remember my first camping trip, Little Jimmy's, the one you just said about the squirrels. The look of amazement on your face when I pulled out a huge can of bug spray, and I was going to spray it all around the ground, around the tents, and around the bathrooms, just everywhere. And that face was priceless. You then kindly explained that this is nature, not my backyard, and I couldn't bring bug spray on a campout ever again. Mr. Jennings, you are my first Troop 161 mentor. Mr. Isidro, I became a Life Scout during the time you were my Scoutmaster. You took me on monthly hikes and monthly backpacking trips and camping trips. You contributed to my love for high adventure. You pushed me out of the nest, my comfort zone. You challenged me to do more and more. You made me your SPL over my will because you saw leadership in me, even though I doubted you. You were my next Troop 161 mentor, Mr. Sidro. See here? Mr. Preston was my next scoutmaster, and you taught me how to fly as a senior patrol leader. You guided me gently with your wisdom and easygoing attitude toward scouting. I learned to be a better leader because you gave me a lot more room to make decisions and to make many mistakes. You let me soar safely within your arm's reach. You are my next Troop 161 mentor. When Mr. Westgate became Troop 161 Scoutmaster, I was one of your junior assistant scoutmasters at the time. You relied on me to mentor the current SPL and the other scouts. Then, when I accepted the SPL position for the second time, you finally fine-tuned my flight. As an Eagle Scout yourself, Mr. Jennings. Yes, that is true, Mr. Jennings, but Mr. Westgate. You know the best ways to be an effective and efficient leader. You have taught me how to delegate better than I've ever done, and to remember that praise is very important. So, you are my current Troop 161 mentor. Next person I feel has been a true mentor to me, and this person is Mrs. Gould. I had the privilege of being your student in 8th grade at Oak Intermediate. You were my U.S. history teacher that year, and I remember the first day of class when I had you as my teacher instead of knowing you as only Mr. Westgate's partner. I had such a smile on my face, the biggest smile, because I knew your class was going to be a great tons of fun. From you, Mrs. Gould, I learned how to always be positive. I learned that there is no such thing of having too much on an agenda, and that a person could never be too busy in one day. For this, and for many other reasons, Mrs. Gould, you have been a mentor to me. All Eagle Scouts stand up here and talk about how they wouldn't have made this trail without their mothers. It is so true, and I understand now why they say that. Somehow, mothers seem to make everything happen within the family. If they put their seal of approval on it, then it is so. My mom, of course, makes scouting look easy, since she has 2 other sons who have attained Eagle Scout status. But don't be fooled. My experience has been very different from my brother's. Being an older mom, she was easier to talk to. She has more time for me and was more forgiving. Mom, I always knew I was going to be an Eagle Scout because you told me I was one day. Thank you for that. I love you, Mom.
You know, that second time Kevin became a senior patrol leader, he was voted on by his fellow scouts. So it shows that they even recognized the leadership ability he would have leading the troop. Just thought I'd put that in there, Kevin, because you did a great job, buddy. So Kevin, you've accepted a weighty challenge to live out this Eagle Scout promise in his everyday life. It is a challenge worthy of each of us. Let's give our new Eagle Scout one more round of applause. And now would Alex Sun please retire the colors.
May the audience please rise for the retirement of the colors. Honor guard, attention! Honor guard, forward, march! Halt! Please retire the flag of the United States of America. All those in uniform salute. All those not in uniform, please place your right hand over your heart. Please retire the troop flag. Honor guard, report! Honor guard, retreat! Honor guard, dismissed. 2. Audience at ease.
So thank you everyone for coming out and participating in this wonderful event. This concludes the Court of Honor for Kevin Vine, and please join us across the courtyard in Cleaver Hall for dinner, because, you know, as I learned from past Scoutmaster Carl Jennings, the 13th Scout Law, a Scout is hungry. Thank you, everybody. And thank you for having me do this. This is great.